counting. I know the numbers are going.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Search, Deploy, Commit. I'm your host, Jack, and I'm here with the famous Warzone player, WarTog. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Oh, Samurai, I'm Jack. Thank you for coming on WarTog show. So, my first question is, how long have you been a samurai? My second question is, how many ninja have you killed?
You know, it's interesting. I haven't ever really been asked the first question of the show, so that's interesting. That you start with that. I think I only have one account, for the record. If that's what you're asking.
Okay. So no killing ninjas.
No.
Oh. Well, this is going to be an exciting interview. So.
But hey, do you mind if I ask you some questions, WarTog? I would really love to. I think people would also like to hear your perspective on the game, and obviously, I think a lot of people really enjoy chatting with you. I know you're very active in the live chats and in the community. So, and obviously as a part of Harmony as your clan. But I was curious, how did you come up with the name WarTog, and specifically its spelling to me is interesting as well.
Okay. That is combination of laziness and creativity. I was playing the Warzone, and my computer crashed, and I need a new account. And it said, "What is your name?" And I said, "I don't know." And I saw this big word, Warzone, on my screen, and I said, "How about WarTog?" And so I just was going to do that, and I thought, that's stupid. But then I thought, if I spell it WarTog, then I'm clever. So I did that out of laziness and cleverness.
So it's a combination of both. That's cool.
Yeah, but it was just the first animal that popped in my head when I tried to play Warzone, because I did not think I would play for very long. I thought I would play for a few minutes and go away.
Huh. But so just a throwaway name, but it just became your whole persona and everything.
Well, now I'm stuck with it, aren't I?
And as we continue to lead up to this setup for the interview and to talking through it, you requested a cookie, and I wasn't exactly sure why, because I have one, but I don't I don't have any way to pass it over to you.
Oh, this is the bit. Hey, Samurai Jack, would you like a cookie?
Sure, yeah, that sounds great.
Here you go. You probably didn't hear that, did you?
Fortunately not.
Okay.
But I can imagine you were trying to share one with me, so I greatly appreciate it.
Thought you should have a cookie if I'm eating cookies, because let me tell you, I'm eating cookies. Because it's lunchtime.
Right on. So you mentioned how this was sort of a throwaway name for you at the beginning. How do you remember your first game? As far as when you initially got started playing, like what did you get started in? Were you an idler or just a regular single player? Or what was it that got you started, or where did you start on your Warzone journey?
I was playing the single player. I was playing a different game that had maps and tanks and airplanes, and it was fun. But then I started playing games from when I was a little piglet, like Monopoly or Backgammon or Roulette or
Sure.
Ricks. And the Ricks
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, you like this? How about you want to play this other game?" And I said, "No, I don't." But then I clicked it anyway, and I found the single player uh, games, and I was just playing them. But I was playing just by myself because I don't like to get in fights with people, and people fight with WarTog on the chats. So
Sure.
I was just playing by myself. I didn't even know there was a chat for maybe a year or two, and but so yeah, I just been a thing. I like to solve puzzles, and it's like a puzzle, a whole bunch of puzzles to figure out, and that was fun for a couple of years. And then after I won all the levels, and then I got all the gold stars, and then around that time is when Visitor sent the email about the idol. And since I had run out of stuff to do, I started playing idol. And idol was fun also. It's a different kind of puzzle,
Sure.
but it's still a puzzle and also takes forever to do. So I was playing that also. And that's how it started.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, very similar to my journey in the single player and going to multiplayer and maybe not enjoying that as much sometimes, but then also getting started in Idle. I think it's a fun game. It sort of takes you around. You got, like you said, puzzles. I think that's
Yeah.
I tried putting together a puzzle once and I got really close to the end and I was like, man, it took me all day to get to this point. So power to everybody. I'm still terrible at Idle. So what's a tip that you could give me in Idle? Because I am horrible at Idle.
Tip for idle. I think the thing about idle, people don't. It is like a puzzle, and it's a logistics puzzle, and a lot of people who hate it, it's because they don't like doing that, and so it may not be the game for you.
Hmm.
But uh, the tip that Warthog gives himself for idle is I hear so many people complain about things about idle, and I hear them, and then they complain that they run out of money.
Mm.
And the end of the game takes too long because they're out of money to buy mercenaries. And uh, I hear that, and I hear the same people complain about not enough money, but not doing anything to get more money. And so I think I need to make sure I have lots of money. Or people say it takes forever. I have to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig, and I hate the digging and digging and digging. And I think I would hate that too. But I hear that people complain about it, but they don't do anything to speed up their digging. And so WarTog having fun because I hear about the digging problem. So I get huge time warp artifacts and lots of time warp things and lots of digging things. And now digging has never been a problem for me because I knew it was going to be a problem, and so I solved it. And I think that's the thing is, if I try to give advice, my advice would be whatever you don't like about it, is there a way to solve that? Because that's your problem. Your problem isn't, the game is whatever the game
Yeah.
is, but if it's too slow, is there a way to speed it up? If you're not enough money, can you get more money? If there's, you know,
Sure.
if
Find
digging,
ways to work around it and
yeah, like
address the problems you're having with Idle
yeah. For
directly.
example, one of the things that bothered me was that it is a little slow at the beginning, especially when you're low level. But I realized that you can make idle play when you're not there by getting the advancements with the
Right.
idle time. So I said, well, I need a whole bunch of that because usually when I play Idle, I play and an hour or two, or until it gets boring and slow, and then I go have some lunch, and I come back 5 hours later, and
Yeah.
oh look, I got more armies. I don't really have a lot of time where I'm sitting in front of the computer bored
Right.
because so that's the thing. I think I understand when people don't like certain things about it, but I am often puzzled by people who are complaining about something. Like also people complain about having too much money at the end of the they've got all
Yeah.
this money, but they don't have armors and blah blah blah. And
Sure.
these same people are going for the what's it called, the AV, the dollar values,
Oh, okay. Sure.
which gives you lots of money. But you got too much money. You just said you got too much money. That's not what you need is one of those. You need a time warp or a supercharge or something
Mm,
that gives you more armies or a strategy that gives you more armies. You don't need more money, but why are you getting an insane ally value if you're complaining
yeah.
about having too much money? So I think that's the thing. If people, I do think people play in a way that they like for a while. But what is fun and challenging about Warzone is you can't always play one way all the time. And
Yeah.
and I think it's natural for people, people who don't have patience will want to play quick matches, and that's
Right.
fine. And people who are really good at strategy will want to play strategy games and so on. But if you but but everybody does that naturally. They tend to only play the thing that they are most happy with, which is fine. But then they complain about all the other games that aren't that way, and it's like, well, it's not the game's fault. You just don't want to play the way that game wants to play. That game doesn't want to, uh, you know, do this part
Yeah.
of it. So either don't play it or learn to do that. Like Warthog, uh, don't don't tell Harmony about this.
Okay.
Warthog does Warthog does not like clan wars. It is not fun. I hate clan wars so much. But they're giving me monies. So
Yes. Yeah.
I guess I gotta play. So I gotta figure out how do I play clan wars if I
Sure.
don't like it at all, and how do I play? You know, which templates are more fun than the others, and which plots take less time. So I'm not spending a lot of time playing this horrible, horrible game. And then I still get my cookies at the end of the season, but
Yeah. Hey.
I don't spend as much time uh, being angry because some guy beat me again at this game that I don't like.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. You bring up a good point as far as Warzone has all these different avenues in which you can take and find what it is you really like about the game. But that also means you're probably going to find some stuff that you maybe don't like as much, right? I mean, I consider myself a diplomacy style player, probably as a preference, but that doesn't mean that everybody else in Warzone enjoys that. So I think it's cool. I think you have all these different groups, and I can appreciate. If, I don't think anybody here or myself or anybody that's listening is going to tell Harmony. I don't know why they would do such a thing. When you're trying to be a good team player, and I think if anything, they can respect that. But
Nice fellows. I hope to have them kick me out because they're awful nice folks.
yeah, well, that's really good insight on Idle. Specifically, we talked a little bit about your start into the game. Tell me about as things got on, maybe your favorite match or maybe a favorite Warzone memory or something that happened that really sticks out to you.
Hmm. Well, I guess. Oh, favorite matches. I don't like a lot of matches, so that's hard because
Sure.
if I like a match, it's usually because of bad reasons. Like if there's a player who is not a nice person and WarTog crushed them, then that's fun. But then I feel bad that I crushed some 10-year-old who was having just had too much juice that day. So,
Sure.
but I think my uh, I did like, and that's too long a story. I did like recently. I was playing the Warzone-Idle battles, and uh, I played them a lot because they have prizes and they don't cost anything. So I was playing the Warzone-Idle battles, and I had quite a few points, and I had got up to the point where I had won the second highest award, which is the multi-level uh, thing, power that you can win.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and for 50, 54, no, that's not the right number. Auto was not the right number. Anyway, for like 50,000 battle points, and I had got that one, and then the Warzone Idle battle told me, okay, next you can have a legendary artichoke. And I thought, that sounds tasty. So I thought I would get the legendary artichoke. And so I was saving up to buy one of those. And on the chat, people were talking about, oh, yeah, the multi level is the last award. And Warthog would say, well, I think legendary is after that. And they're like, oh, no, that doesn't exist. And I thought, that's weird because the BattleBot tells me it exists, and I think it exists, but no one would believe Warthog. And I had this conversation a couple times with very experienced people who had, thought that there was no award after 50,000.
Sure.
And I kept having to explain to people that it's true. Warthog is not making it up, and I realized that even if it would take a long time to convince them I was not crazy. And so I said, you know, even if I get this, they're not going to believe me unless I make a video. So, so I saved up, and I rallied the troops to do Warzone Idle battles more often, and I got the 102,400 battle pigs that you need to get the legendary artichoke. And I got that and had a video, and I think it's because I don't think anyone had done it before. Is the
Wow.
only reason nobody had done it. And nobody thought it was real because no one had done it before. So I'm pretty sure Warthog was the first player to win that. And so that was exciting. And that was very happy. And I was also exciting because after that, Otto, who is a player, um, he decided he could do it too. And so he
Nice.
just a month ago got his legionary artichoke because he saw that Warthog had showed it could be done. And that
Wow.
makes me very proud of too. And now there are two other players I just heard yesterday, two other players talking about how they, are you going to go for the legendary? Yeah, I'm going to go for the legendary. Yeah, me too. How far are you like? And that was exciting because before Warthog do it, nobody,
Yeah.
they would just give up.
Wow.
They would get to, 30,000. They go, I don't want a multi-level plower anyway. And they would
Sure.
quit, and they didn't know there was this
Wow.
really great prize that if they just stick a little longer. And, some people don't want to do that, but that was that. Warthog very proud of that. The
Yeah.
video is on my profile page, so there's proof that it is a thing.
Yes. And I'll make sure we link that in the video as well so that everybody can check that out. That's pretty amazing, if you think about
it's not the most exciting video, but it proves
it
that
counts.
there is a prize, and then after the prize, then there's no other prizes. So
Right.
So we'll know for sure. So that was fun to do, especially like I said when I started. Even the very experienced user guides did not think that there were any awards after 50,000. So I was very happy to uh, make a
That's
milestone.
awesome. And in a lot of ways, you think about how that's uh, such a big part of the game for so many people to be able to find something out for the community. Say, yeah, this is for real. It's out there.
Yeah.
That's always cool, and to be the allegedly first to uncover it. Obviously, Fizzer himself probably knew about this, right? We have to imagine he put it in there.
I don't know. He doesn't seem very bright. I think it probably snuck in there. That may be why nobody knew about it because it wasn't there when Fizzer put it in. But then this little architect came along and said, I want to live here. And it snuck into
That's what happened.
and that's probably more makes sense because I just don't see why Fizzer would think of something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I'm not sure. And it's pretty awesome. To put this together, and obviously definitely go check out the video, check out the legendary. You got the triple strike, right? Is that what that was that you got in the? That was the legendary artichoke,
well,
as you're
no,
calling it.
that was I got that one too. That was actually my first artichoke that was legendary. No, it's
Okay.
in if you play have you played the Warzone battles?
Yes.
So let if you come in first, second, third, fourth, there's a
Right.
prize like an epic uh, artichoke for first place. The first time you do first, there's also cumulative rewards for like when you have 1,000 or 2,000 or 4,000. It doubles each level,
Okay.
and so they will give awards like here's a poor artifact, here's a,
Okay.
a, a what's after poor common artifact, here's an uncommon artifact, and it's a whole table that's like I don't know 20 awards, and the very top one of that. So it's for playing for a long, long time for many, many months.
Sure.
You have to play. Somebody figured it was um, someone else that better with math, but it's something like 5,000 games you have to play to
Okay. Wow.
to to or 5,000 you have to win. That's 100,000 divided by 50, 100 divided by 10, or 10,000 divided by 5. Okay, so
Drag the zero.
you have to win 2,000 games, but if you're terrible and you only get 10 or 20 points a game, then multiply that by. So, yes, between 2 and 10,000 games you have to play. And, that
Okay.
takes a while because, you have to sign up and then you have to wait for 5 minutes. 5 minutes? 10 minutes? However long you have to wait.
Yeah, I'm not sure as far as the
And
those
then
those battles, but
and then you have to play the game. So it can take 10, 15 minutes every. But there's one every half hour. There's a battle every half hour. But you're eating up a lot of life energy to play all those games.
sure.
So that was the challenge. There is how to not. I think that's one reason a lot of people still consider it impossible because why would you play that many hours in a row? It would be thousands of hours
Sure.
uh, to win that many games or to play that many games. So that was again a puzzle where Warthog had to figure out. Well, how do I play 2,000 games and not be bored out of my mind? So I want. So I can tell what that is, but I don't think this is an exciting part of the interview. We
Well, I
need
mean,
to
I
talk
think it's
about.
I think it's interesting. I think this is the draw of the game. You have people that are figuring out these puzzles everywhere. I talked to you, and you're describing how you broke down getting to this point, and then being potentially the first person to discover this, and then how you went about going and doing that. And there's other players that have come on and done interviews, and they've shared how they enjoy this little aspect of their own puzzles in the game, right? Whether it's competitive
Right.
or single
Yeah,
player or whatever. So I think it's
that's true.
it's
Okay.
pretty cool to see that you're, this is your puzzle, like you describe. I think that's a really good way of putting it.
Okay, so yeah, so that was the thing is I was playing the battles, and there's a way to there's things you need better artifacts, and you also need better advancements to do better in the battles. Like if you want to win first prize, you have to have a lot of advancements, uh, or
Right.
maybe you need to have a really good artifact. Um, but and so people, you get those and you get good at winning. Basically, you try to win, but to win, what it takes to win, um, you know, takes a long time because you do have to play the game, and that can take 10, 15 minutes, and
Right.
every half hour. So you basically, if you want to win every game, you're going to play, all day. You're going to play for 15 minutes, and then you're going to stay online for 15 more minutes for the next half hour. And
Sure.
then, next thing you know, your whole day is gone, and you only played 5 games. So,
Gotcha.
so when I first started, that was the first thing is, try to get a better set of artifacts to be better at the game, at the battles. But then after a while, you get to a point where you need so many points that you do the math. Everybody does the math, I think, and goes, "Oh, so in a year I can have this." I don't think I need it that bad because I only play a couple times a day, and it's going to take years. So that was the big second puzzle for Warthog. Is once I figured out how to win, I had to figure out how can I win without spending 15 minutes to do it, because I
Mm,
can't spend that much of my life playing
right.
just this one part of this one game.
Right. Right.
So Warthog's next innovation was to realize that you want to, set up your artifacts and your skills so that you don't have to play, so that you know, it's
Yeah.
battle time, and you sign into the battle, and then you go get lunch, and or you go watch a movie. And then when you come back, they go, "Hey, guess what? You came in 15th. Here's 10 points." And if you can do that, then it only, it takes,
Sure.
it arguably takes longer, but not really, because I'm only spending 15 seconds per game of my life to win that 10 points. And if I
Hmm.
have good enough artifacts, I actually got to a point where I could pretty much always get 20 points even if I don't try at all. Then it was easy. It feels like a grind if you're playing the game and clicking all the time to try to win. But if you just sign up and leave, that doesn't take a lot of energy, and you can do that all day. So I could be at
Yeah.
work. I could, put in 8 hours of battling
True
at
idol.
work, because you don't need to actually pay attention. And so that was like a big shift
Hmm.
when I realized I'm not going to get this prize if I'm gonna kill myself if I have to play this many games, and be mad every time somebody gets first and I come in second. Uh,
Sure.
you know,
Right.
but if I can be happy that I came in ninth, then and it only takes 2 seconds, well, that's a much happier day for Warthog, and
Yeah,
it's
that
much
makes
easier
sense.
to play, 8, 9, 10 games a day,
Yeah.
and then it adds up. So that was the second puzzle of Idle Battle, was how do you win, but then also how do you win long term if you want those the other artifacts in the legendary one. So
Right. That's really good. I mean, I really enjoyed you explaining that because I think this game in general is it is trying to figure out the different angles and strategies to accomplish our goals in the game, whether it be against other people or not. And idle is a really big. When I look at it, it's this massive puzzle that I don't know if I'll ever figure it out fully, but I
Yeah.
really enjoy hearing how you went about doing it. And to that point on battles, do you think what is something that you would like to maybe see improved in battles specifically? Like, do you think he could expand and do something further, or what are your thoughts around that?
Well, I'm kind of retired from battles. I haven't played one in a couple months because there's no more prizes. So
Sure,
I
right.
seem I seem to recall that I really didn't like when it would the lag time when the battle would freeze up. Like the battle was still going on, but I couldn't click things
Okay.
because it was waiting to, I don't know, buffer, whatever it
Hmm.
does when it thinks. And so
Sure.
it's in a game like that where you're trying to do something quick, fast. It's very frustrating when the computer says, "Yeah, I don't want to do anything right now." So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just my computer is slow or if there's he's not a very bright fellow. So there's probably something he could maybe get somebody else to help him with his
Sure.
homework, and then maybe it could be better. I don't know, but that's the thing that I wish was better about battles because the battles are exciting because there's
Yeah.
zip arrows shooting around and all kinds of stuff
Right.
happening. But it's a little too much information for a person to take in, and it's
Mm.
also very frustrating if it stalls because you're trying to take in all this information and then it also won't do anything. Uh, that's
Sure.
two bad things crashing into each other. So, um,
Yeah.
I wish.
That's an interesting point. And I mean, it
Uh,
makes sense. I really enjoy, and as a person that maybe isn't into idle as much as yourself or other idlers, I think battles are really interesting, and I do horribly when I play in them, but I think it's really a fun aspect to change up and try your idle skills against other players or whatever it is, right?
yeah,
It's really interesting.
it's. I think they did a good job of making something where you can be competitive in
Right.
this thing that isn't really competitive. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, it's very unique.
you're not hurting other people if you beat them at a battle.
Right. Sure.
And so you can test your skills, like you said, and it was fun. The first halfway through the journey was fun because you're also changing your strategies. At least I was every day going, okay, well that works well, but what if I, you know, use this different artifact? And I think that was another thing that was fun about the battles is because it was happening so fast that when um, I guess I played. I must have played in the beta version of Idle.
Okay.
So I remember when the battle was new, and oh, what was I going to say? So oh, at the time that I started using the battles, I was rarely using artifacts in the regular game. Because
Hmm.
well, it used to be 24 hours cooldown time, and now it's only 16, which is better. But it used to be 24 hours, and so there was no artifact you would ever use because it wasn't
Wow.
worth it. Like if you use an artifact, then one of your slots is full for the
Sure.
whole day, and so
Yeah.
you need you know your you need your three main ones to boost your production, and you need those three. So
Right.
there's really nothing you know that is so good that you go, I'm going to give up one of my artifacts for a whole day just so I can get uh, a, a mercenary camp thing. There just wasn't anything. So
Right.
I think I probably am not alone in that. I think people rarely use the artifacts, the active artifacts. But then they
Gotcha.
shortened the cooldown, so it's a little more reasonable. And then they added the hard levels, so you could get the fourth slot.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And once you have the fourth slot, then you can sort of go, okay, well, maybe I'll have one active slot that I'll use that, and I will use.
Mm,
And so that changed how I played. Then I started using Time Warp a lot more because it wasn't filling up a space that I needed for
right.
something important. So it was a freebie to use that 1.5 times a day. But what I was trying to get to in the first place is that Idle Battles was great because you could try out these artifacts that you would never use. Like
Yeah,
I would
sure.
never have used Supercharge Ammo Camp because it kind of seems
Hmm.
stupid because if you have just a small one like a common or and it speeds up for I think an hour. No, not even an hour, for like 20 minutes. You're not going to use up a slot all day just so you can get 20 minutes of faster
Sure.
armies. But you could go on Idle Battle and go, what does this thing do? And you put it in there and you go, oh, well, that's kind of cool. And in the Idle Battle, the cooldown happens in a few minutes, so you can use it again and again and again. And you can go, that's kind
Hmm.
of useful. I think I will upgrade this one because if it was epic, that might mean something.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so it was a great way to test things that I would never, definitely cannon fodder artifacts that I would never have kept in a million years. And then you go, oh, well, wait a minute. And so the triple strike is an excellent example. Triple strike is a stupid artifact. I would never ever use that, not in a million years, until it's legendary. Oh, then I use it all the time. Because it gave me free armies. So that's
Right.
and that's part of what the legendary but what the Idle Battle can do for you, you can try things and go, oh, okay, so that's what that does, and that's maybe not so bad, and maybe if I invest in
Hmm.
that, and I could use that, or maybe when I grow up
It's
and I
worth it.
understand that maybe that's a whole new strategy. So,
That's
and I
cool.
think that's how some people have, you see people discovering new artifacts, not new artifacts, because they're all the same, but people suddenly coming up with strategies where, I remember when alloy values was a new thing. The market strategy was a new thing. And suddenly people going, hey, what about this artifact? It helps with the market strategy. And,
Hmm.
it changes how people play. So,
Yeah, that's really good. I think, you know, this whole, I mean, you were able to come up with this whole other, idea as far as how to find new ways to enjoy the battles, idle battles, with trying these artifacts that you would have never otherwise used. And that's really expanding beyond something that other people would just maybe not even think about doing. So
yeah,
that's really cool. I like
yeah,
it.
I
But
have that.
before we get into anything further, I have to
What?
ask because I was
No,
told.
I refuse to drop the subject. What are we talking about?
No, I was told I have to ask you this question. I have to
Oh,
ask you.
oh, I didn't under my desk. Okay,
I
go ahead.
I have to ask you about the mayonnaise. I was told this is a good story. Should I
Man,
be scared? Is this a good story?
I don't know. I think they may need. Can you tell me who asked about that?
Yeah, it was absolutely Ethan said I need to ask you about the mayonnaise.
Uh-oh. I regret to inform you that I don't know what he's talking about. Um, if we,
Well, I did as I was told. I'm only here, you can shoot the messenger, it's okay, but I had to ask.
no, that's fine. I don't. It's funny. I only know Ethan for a little while because he made that map, and then I had to go and defend the map, and so I've only played a couple games with him, and I don't know which one had mayonnaise in it. Um, So in
I'm
your
not sure.
face, Ethan, you thought you could crush Warthog, but that is not gonna work because Warthog is too stupid for your shenanigans.
Oh man, love it, love it. We've got drama on the podcast. I'm about it.
Yes, tell them that I threaten his death. I will crush him the next time I see him. If he so much as mentions mayonnaise, he's gonna have to have mayonnaise on his sandwiches because it's too dry without mayonnaise.
You heard it here first, everybody.
Crush him!
Okay, all right, we'll change the subject. So, I think, some of these things, as far as idle has been really good. Would you consider yourself purely an idle player then? Is that kind of your forte? Is that where you prefer to play in Warzone?
I think probably other players would consider me an idle player. I've played almost all the different things in Warzone, but some are more fun than others. And I think probably what I liked best was the single player, but I've done all of those.
Sure.
So idle is the only thing that I enjoy playing pretty much any time I come on.
Yeah.
Like I can be in a mood to play a clan wars, or I can be not in the mood to play the clan wars. But I do always, idle is you can play by yourself, so I don't need to be in any
Right.
kind of mood. So,
Yep.
in the sense that I spend a lot more time playing idle, sure, that might be true, but it's not. It's not casting aspersions on any of the other kind of games, and I do play some of the other games, but they're not. Yeah, I don't. I definitely, of the things that I still play, it's the one I like the most. If they came out with a whole bunch more, well, I did start playing single player with new maps, new templates.
Okay.
That's because that's the same challenge. Is it? Here's a new map. How do you beat the Game of Thrones? How do you beat Tyrion Lannister? Sure. And so that's kind of fun, but I'm always a little scared of new maps because the official ones, at least I know there's a solution.
Sure.
There was one time there was a guy trying to make everybody try his template, and it was some sort of tricky puzzle template where you couldn't possibly win. And, I played it a couple times and I thought, well, I don't even know if there is a way to win. Because who is this guy? Because he's not, he may just be messing with everybody. And so, so I couldn't play it. But I'll do sometimes. What I like to do is if I'm in a multiplayer game, I'm in 2 right now, really big ones.
Okay.
And so I will go on the single player custom and I will play that map 5 or 10 times to get familiar with it.
Interesting.
So that then I can cheat and beat people at the regular game, even though it's the first time I ever played the map.
I don't think I consider that cheating. I think that's good strategy. That makes sense.
That's probably doing the research. Yeah, no, I was doing. I don't know if you're familiar with Ethan, the Wacky Waterways. For some reason,
yes,
I played that one twice. I think that's the one I played. Well, no, the Wacky Waterways, crazy map, and but because I played a couple on my own, I knew this area is very valuable. This area, don't waste your time, and that was. It was very useful because there were 300 people playing and nobody knew how, nobody knew anything about which area was good. And so it was
came in handy.
Just play a couple times, play with robots and go and know which areas are going to give you trouble because the robots are neutral, so they're not ganging up on you. And
Yeah.
so I do like to do that if I see a map that is interesting, that I will play it a few times
It's good.
till I figure out how you play that map, and that broadens how your strategies of, because you use those strategies
Right.
in other maps. Like I had a really frustrating one I just did that had a wraparound played with Warthog's head, because those robots come at you from the other side. You don't know, and then all of a sudden they're over here, and
Yeah.
so. But once you get used to it, you go, oh, okay, that's what wraparound is. I'm gonna watch myself if I get in a wraparound map, and I'm gonna be the sneaky one coming around on the side. Now that I
Yeah.
know that the robots can do that, or,
Right.
or
Yeah, maps are everything. If you don't know the lay of the land, that you're going to probably be at a big disadvantage compared to somebody that's played it 5 or 10 times. So that's really good advice,
yeah.
and I think that's really good insight as far as understanding the different strategies. So
Because I think also I found it worked because what a lot of people don't think about, a lot of people don't like to play robots, and I'm not saying it's fun to play robots,
sure.
but the one thing that is nice about robots is at the first few turns, at the beginning of a game, they're really good players. At the opening setup, they do things right. There's
Yeah.
no backstabbing. It's just who does the better math, and the robots are really good at math. And so you play the robots a couple times, and you can learn from them. And then if you can get the first 4 or 5 moves that you're playing really good, then that changes the whole game for for you after that.
Yeah.
Once you have to deal with the humans, because you got so much income already, because you
Right.
made a good first turn, or a very good second turn, good third turn. And the robots are very good for that, because they are mean as snakes, and they will not give you any mercy because you are in their clan with them or
Yeah.
anything like that. They will
That's
gang
true.
up on you. And so, now later in the game, humans are better than robots, but at the beginning of the game,
True.
robots are better than the average human player.
And the average human, yeah. Don't go
Average.
telling pro players that
No,
the
no.
guys that play.
The good players can beat a robot, but the average person doesn't do math as well as the robots do. And there is some
Right.
math. You
Yep.
know?
Agreed. Yeah, there's definitely some important math, especially in those first moves, which, I think Alex Clusive spoke to how it's this very,
Hello?
multi-dimensional
Hello?
Doctor Strange
Uh-oh.
level
Did I click
chess,
something?
right? No, you're good. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? I can hear
Hello?
you. You're good.
Okay. Did you stop in the middle of a sentence?
I may have.
Oh, you
No,
said
we're good.
exclusive was something, and then
Oh, I cut out. I apologize. No, I was saying he
say,
mentioned how chess is a bad comparison in some ways to Warzone, because Warzone's a interdimensional Doctor Strange level of chess. You have all these different, you know, things going on and different possibilities. So you're right; those first couple moves are very, very important, similar to chess, at least in that regard. But there's so many different ways you could take it, right? Uh,
right,
Whole nother conversation. But you're right;
right,
it's math and strategy combined. So,
yeah.
but man, it's been a lot of really good things we've talked about, and really enjoyed hearing about your achievements and the things you've been able to pull off in the game. And I know you've already spoken a little bit to, what you'd like to see improved in idle battles, but is there anything, as a player that you'd like to see improved in the game, or something that you really like about the game, that, is really important to you, or why this idle version or this strategy game has been better for you over the years? Or not necessarily years, but since you've started playing.
I think I do think more maps in probably all the areas is good. Like I said, single player is my favorite thing probably, but I haven't played single player in 3 or 4 years because there's no maps left to do. And so I wonder if there's a way for Fizzer to add a new map once a year or two, to that,
Sure.
not go crazy. And I think that people feel the same way about, say, Idle Battles. It's 4 maps, and after a while you get bored. Is there any way maybe once every couple of years add one more or switch one out? I don't know. Maybe that's too much work for Fizzer, but it
Sure.
seems like there's a way to go because you know, like Idle, what's it called? Idle Super Ascend got everybody interested because there were these 14 new maps. But I don't think you need
Hmm.
14. I think you just need one new map every now and then, and people would go crazy for it.
Hmm.
And so I think that's something that would help classic single player and would help Idle and would help Idle Battle and would help Clan Wars is, just for them to realize they don't need a whole lot of new stuff, but just any new thing is a new thing, and that will keep people interested. So
Hmm.
I would think that might be good. And I don't know. I think uh, a lot of times people make suggestions for how to improve the game, but I think it's awful complicated, and it's probably doing a good job. Um, I wouldn't want them to change too much just because there was something that bugged me. I'll play something else if I'll play a different thing. I'll go play some more Idle if I don't like this map, or if I don't
Sure.
like this template. Uh, um, More nice people, less bad people would be good. That's it's I spend a lot of time on the global chat because that's where all the cool kids play. And don't tell the other kids I said that. And the it's always very sad when somebody decides they need to make other people have hurt feelings because uh, we're all here to have fun. I know
Yeah.
I am, and so it always bothers me, makes me sad when I see someone whose their goal is to make other people have a bad time. Well, don't do that. Just you don't if you don't like this part of the game, don't play that part of the game. go play
Right.
with go play with something you like, and don't. Uh, I don't know. Now I'm waxing poetical, and I don't know if that's useful for you.
No,
But
no, no.
it's,
It's good. No, I think that's really great. And unfortunately, I don't know if hopefully we got your whole statement there, but I think you're 100% right. I think being kind and that statement of I think everybody here is trying to have fun. I hope that everybody that's playing Warzone's not out to ruin other people or ruin their time playing in the game because it is a really great community, and I appreciate the work that you do to put that together, and obviously even just the discoveries that you've made and the friendships that you've made and the conversations you've had. I've always enjoyed your chats when we've been on, obviously prior to this. So thank you for being a great part of Warzone, and I hope that you can continue to bring your cheerfulness and your sense of humor to the rest of the community.
that's right. And thank you for coming on the show.
You want to wrap it up for us then, Warthog? That would be great.
That was what? That was Tim of my Jack, retired ninja slayer who was he now has his own radio show. You should listen to it on. I'm gonna have my detectives put the link in the comments, and then you can go see his podcast sometime. Adios.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening.